Hey everyone, welcome to Watch It Paint It. In this video we are going to be looking, it's mostly going to be an unboxing. We're going to be unboxing / looking at the Army Painter's new Gamemaster series core box. This is the Dungeons and Caverns Core Set. I assume this is a series. I think you can get miniatures from this Gamemaster product series, whatever I want to call it, but this is the big core box. It's absolutely huge. Just to warn you, this was sent free of charge, so do bear that in mind as I go through it. It's not going to be a massive review because this box is huge, so I think just the unboxing alone is going to take some time. I'm going to have to do some more videos using it and reviewing it. So the Gamemaster series lets you build your own dungeon and cavern. Let me flip it over. So you get to build scenery like the base, the play area, whatever, what would you call it, the dungeon really. And this set is more for like building a cavern or a dungeon, and you get everything in the box to go about constructing your own play area map. That's a good word for it. You get to texture it, you get to cut it, you get to paint it, and then you are done. You get to done it. This box is massive, guys. So I knew this product was coming. The Army Painter are massively excited about this. Myself, I'm a bit, am I super excited? I'm not an RPG player. I don't play D&D. Am I going to build my own scenery? So I knew this was coming. I've not been super hyped for it. And then it arrived. And this box is huge. I've had to take the camera back so far. Hopefully the audio is good because I'm miles away from the audio. It's really big. It's really weighty. There's a lot in this. And then I just started thinking about it. Yeah, I don't play D&D. I don't play RPGs. But I play role-playing adventures with my 5-year-old daughter, and how much more exciting is this? She loves me drawing the map and pretending the characters are moving around, and it's not structured in any way. It's basically I'm telling her a story but with some props. And here, whoo, so I am now excited. I'm now hyped for this. So it's blown somebody away who didn't think they cared. Now, should we have a look what's in the box? It's a real job flipping this over each time. It's absolutely massive. This is the biggest Army Painter product I own, and I've got the mega paint sets, and I'm sure they're only about this big in comparison. So some padding to make sure stuff doesn't get damaged. That's nice. Protecting the stuff. Where should we begin? There is so much stuff. Let's start with the easy stuff. A can of primer. Now this is Dungeon and Subterrane. I wonder what colour this is. I'm gonna guess it's gonna be black, and it looks like you use it like normal. It is specifically terrain primer. I wonder if that makes any difference to their normal primers. It feels really heavy despite being a smaller can than normal. That's weird. Wonder how it differs. But yeah, you get a kind of spray primer, so you can put it on the foam and just give it a nice prime to begin with. I wonder if it even needs priming. I would guess it's going to be super absorbent. That's something I might experiment with, whether you need to prime these things or not. Now, next, let's stick with the easy stuff. Curse, yeah, because it's easier to talk about. So what have we got here? We've got some scenery sand. So this is nice. This is most of the weight of the box. I think these two things with the big heavy stuff, that's quite good, isn't it? Very coarse sand, although it's got some fine bits as well. So the idea of this is you're going to be able to sprinkle it all over the map, the tiles that you build for your dungeon or caverns, depending what you'd like to build from this set, and just make it look unique and scatter this around to glue it down and stuff. So that's really nice. Get a box of sand as well. Then we've got some tufts. So I've started making my own tufts, but I still fall back to the Army Painter one so much just because it's easy and I've got them nearby, and I don't always fancy just sitting around and making some with static grass, although that gives me a lot of variety. I've got enough of these to add variety as well, and they are really nice. I really rate the Army Painter tufts. So they include a set here again. You're going to be able to put it in cracks and the spaces for the tiles if you need to do the sort of inch grids, that sort of thing. So yep, some tufts to add some more variety to the scenery that we're going to be building. Let's have a look at some of the foam, because that's probably fairly important. It's something we've not got. This doesn't exist. I think this is one of the coolest things that Army Painter are doing. They're making things very accessible. I'm sure we can go out and buy some foam. It's going to be easy enough to find, but would you have thought of it? Would you have come to this idea? Would you be at your local friendly game store and stumble across it? I really love the way the Army Painter are making these hobby tools very accessible and and easier for especially new painters to stumble into and get into the hobby. So this is a fairly thick piece of foam. I can press on it. If I press hard enough, I will make some indentations, I can tell that. But I can press fairly firmly on it, so it's fairly solid. And then you're getting yourself 6 pieces of this, medium, probably about A4 size. And then you've got 2 pieces that look about double this size, so A3. So guys, if you don't know, the idea is you build up your dungeon, your map, your scenery using this, and you use the various tools in the box to make unique bases. So you can cut it, I could just press on it and make some dints. I could rip pieces off to make cracks and stuff on the terrain. You scatter that sand on, glue it down. The tufts as well, you can put them on, just making it look really unique. I think it gives examples in the book to come up, rolling stones across it to make different textured patterns and things like that. So you get to make really cool, unique base, which is probably what I'm going to be doing in a tutorial. Then the cream of the crop in the pack is this, and again, I'm just stressing that have you ever seen one of these? I did not know these exist. I'm sure they do outside of this set, but Army Painter, just once again, really innovative products, aren't they, that just make these tools for everyday people like myself just to realize exist. And wow, this is super simple, isn't it? You're just going to have to click a couple of batteries into here, pull this to open, put the batteries in, and then if you don't know, there's a very thin wire here which is going to heat up incredibly hot, and that's going to allow you to cut into this foam board, just slicing your way through it and cutting and carving whatever patterns, whatever shapes you want to out of it. So very, very keen on trying this. I no doubt will burn myself, so I must be careful with that. So I've never ever seen one of these. I don't own one, so that is very, very cool. And I play around with foam core as well. I'd like to know if this could cut through foam core. I will give it a go. I wonder if the paper side might catch on fire though, so I'll have to be careful. But it might be just a nice tool to add to my hobby tool collection. So that's in the box. Let's have a look at this packet here. So we've got, this doesn't look branded, although it's red and black. But yeah, I can't see any Army Painter. Oh no, am I speaking too soon? No, unless they're changing their name to Sharp Blade. But you get a generic craft knife that you can break off the blades as they blunt and lock it in place here. So I'm sure all of you are familiar with blades like this, but at least you get a blade if you need to do some work. So this can be used for cutting out the foam and sculpting your dungeon. We've got a generic palette. Does it have, again, it's a shame they've not got any branding, and I know it doesn't matter to most people, but you could just get a generic palette from anywhere, so it'd be nice if this was at least an Army Painter one. They're not advertising their own stuff, are they? So that's going to be useful. You guys, if you're familiar with the channel, you know that I mostly just use acrylic Pringle lids, and they do the same job, but I do like dry palettes that are just simple, and this is a very, very simple one, but very, very useful. And if you don't have one, the kit's providing you with one. Then we've got some brushes, and I noticed this is their large dry brush, which I don't own a large dry brush, so I'd be interested in trying out the Army. I'm sorry, I do own random brushes that are large and flat, so I'd be interested to try out Army Painter's specific large dry brush. I don't own their one, so we'll take that for a spin. Oh, this looks like a medium one because this is bigger than what I would normally use. Is it medium? Yeah, medium dry brush. So you get 2 dry brushes, which you're going to need a lot of dry brushing. You're going to texture up the tiles as you build them and just dry brush paint on them, and producing scenery almost effortlessly and ridiculously fast if you just smash on some dry brushing with these brushes. And then you also, I didn't even know Army Painter had one. So this is what they call a wash brush. So it's quite a large brush. So I would normally use my Redgrass Games 2, and you can see it's similar in size. This is actually bigger, hold even more wash. So yeah, very happy that they've got this brush. So they're just giving you all the brushes to produce scenery incredibly fast. I didn't notice this. Does this fall out of the packet? But this looks like it's probably going to be some additional wires for the wire cutter. It looks incredibly thin, easy wire to pick up, so it's not going to cost much to replace the wires if they ever snap or wear out, but you get a few in the pack anyway, so that's nice to have noticed that. That could be quite easy to miss when I'm so far away from actually opening the box and just drop that on the floor, never to be seen again. So next up, so much. So next up, we're going to get some paints. So they're giving us a big bottle. What size is this? So this is 50 mils. You get 2 50 mils. and it's obvious that they're expecting you to base the actual foam in one of or two of these colours, or whichever you're doing. There's so much foam in here. I bet depending on the size of the map you want to produce, you could probably do both and have options or blend them together and all sorts. But you get some big 50mm sort of base colours, which they're obviously assuming you're going to do the majority of the painting in. So 2 big bottles, nice dark brown or medium grey, I'd say that was. Then this is going to be stapled shut, which is going to be impossible to open. I'm in. I might have just cut my thumb though. We'll see. So you get some XPS foam sculpting glue. Be interested how this differs from PVA, but it's a big tube of glue, which is obviously going to be to stick the foam together. As you build it on top of each other, you could build steps out of it. You could build layers, hills, different height parts of the map, all sorts, as well as just cutting bits off to give variety. Glue a little bit of spare waste foam onto another one, and you're going to get a bit of variety in the scenery. We're also, this just looks like a whole bunch, yeah, a whole bunch of their sort of war paint set. So you're getting a dungeon highlight, so really light grey. So they're going to give you the paints to produce the two that it's suggesting. That's why it's those two specific, because you're getting all this paint as well to help you just get that exact thing. So cavern highlight, so yes, so you get the highlight for the dungeon version, the highlight for the cavern version. You're going to get a bit of slime, grotto slime. That looks cool, doesn't it? So adding some sort of effects to it if you would like. Oh, this is even called dungeon effects. I wonder what that is. That's interesting. Why is it called dungeon effects and it's just white? I'll have to look what that is. And I can see there's a how to build, so I'd like to think there's a bit of a tutorial in there. Then you've got the subterranean wash, which looks like a dark green. It's going to go well in dungeons or caverns, I'd say. Then you get brink black. Interesting what the black's for, but again, just adding dirt, scratches, all sorts. Black's always really useful. I wonder if that is just white. It's interesting it's called dungeon effects, so it does make me think it's more than just white. We shall see. And then last but not least, you get cavern effects. What was the other one? Who knows? So you get some cavern effects, which I can't tell what that would be for. Be interesting, hopefully. It's all in the how to build. I know they're putting up tutorials as well on their own YouTube, so be very interested. And I will definitely be building and making some stuff with this. In fact, start leaving me comments below. What should I build? Give me some ideas, because I'm very likely to make a tutorial. So some small pieces of scenery to make, some suggestions on that would be most appreciated. What would actually be good to see if you can make it with this stuff, some little examples. Then we've got a few more pieces, so you get a bit of sandpaper. Wow, yellow sandpaper, that's bright. Hopefully it's not super bright on the camera, but it is in person. It could be for all sorts. Roughing up some of the tiles to give that cavern a little bit of texture, smoothing down the sides so you can get curves that are nice and smooth, that sort of thing. So sandpaper is always useful. It's good again, they've just included everything, haven't they? So it's not like, oh, I don't own any sandpaper, thank the Lord they've provided a bit of sandpaper, but it's nice that it's all just taken care of in this box, because if you don't own everything, maybe it's for a child or something who doesn't do loads and loads of DIY and have this stuff. So it's nice, it's all just in one box, good to go. A metal ruler, fantastic. So you're going to be able to measure out the tile placements if you need to make your board square tiles. Is it an inch? I think they're like inch tiles normally. You're going to be able to measure that out and score the 1 inch tile, 1 inch squares into the board, that sort of thing. So that's the idea, that you can do anything to this foam. It's sturdy enough that just pressing on it, I'm not making dents, but it's still foam, so you can score into it and make lines. You can rough it up with sandpaper. You can make little indents. You can just make it look like real terrain, as real as it can be in this tiny board game style. So you get 2 of these pieces as well. So these are, I think, yeah, these are about double the other piece in case you need a really long corridor or you just need bigger pieces for some reason. But yeah, there's plenty of foam in this box. It's surprising how much the box weighed, giving most of its foam. So that looks like everything, except you get a huge book on how to build dungeons and caverns. Let's just have a flick through. So these, yeah, as I mentioned, I think there's a bunch of miniatures. I've not actually seen them, certainly not in person. I've seen they've done a couple of tutorials on their own YouTube about painting these, so had seen they existed, but no, I've not got any. I'd be interested how good those are. And then we're going to get the quest begins. Basically the unboxing explanation of what all of this is. And as I mentioned, do believe there are some tutorials, an in-depth tutorial guide right here. Then we've got QR codes to scan. Oh, that is fantastic. That's a great idea. I am very impressed with that. So yeah, as I mentioned, I thought Army Painter had got tutorials on painting various characters, so you can scan these codes using your phone, and I bet it's going to go to either a written tutorial that I've never seen, or, oh, isn't that the YouTube symbol? Boop. Or to the YouTube video where you can watch how to do this. So that is a great idea. I'm impressed with that. So it's going to explain some of the steps. Yeah, basically, you're going to take it. You're supposed to texture the foam first. So as I mentioned, using sandpaper, just pressing on, indenting it. They suggest using a rock, which I guess is fairly realistic floor terrain if you've got a big rock, and just sort of rolled it onto that foam. You're going to indent it and give just a unique feel. You just want to do it at random, maybe on the whole board before you begin cutting it out, and then it is going to be random and you're not going to have as much control over where those pieces go. You can also just rip chunks out of the board and it'll look like, have they got any examples? But you can imagine big crack they've put in here. Cracks again, just indenting it with the back of a paintbrush, something like that would do that. You get a big crack here. You could just tear little bits out as though the floor's cracked and eroded away. There's so many choices what we can do. Then they've added some extra terrain here. So what they explain in here, they talk about the characters, aren't they? I'm not actually reading this, guys. I'm just holding it open for you. I'm too far away to see. They show you how to planning the map. That's good. I need something like this because, yeah, I wouldn't have a clue where to begin in planning it, and that's great. So that's a really nice map. If anybody knows, would you aim to produce sort of generic pieces that you could fit together in any configuration, which is probably what this is explaining? Then you can build lots and lots of different maps that will all slot together if you move these pieces around. That's what I'd be trying to do. Just make sure I build one huge Caverns set that I could make many map configurations in. So I'm excited to work out how to do that. Oh, you can see the example with they've got a brick or a rock here, and they just made a big dint. That's a very unique dint in this tile. You can also see is it 1 inch spacing, but you can see they've drawn on each of the tiles like you would on graph paper maps. So yeah, you can just draw that on using the ruler, measure it all out, and then I think you can just score it with the back of a paintbrush. Just make a little indentation, which would then be very visible once you've made it. Oh, they're even sanding it here. So they've not primed it yet. When do they prime it? They're going to prime it in a minute. So then you've made it all unique, all textured. Then you can cut it out using the knife, or you can make curved edges using the wire cutter. Then you can start gluing on some sand and making it even more unique. Then we've got some priming. So yeah, the guide's going to talk you all the way through it. My job here is done, guys. Just freeze frame each page, and you don't need me to do a tutorial. Or if you're buying the box, you get it in person, you can look through this. So this is the most in-depth tutorial I have ever got in a box set of anything. This looks fantastic, and I am so impressed with the QR codes that it's just going to take. Oh, create an acid pool. So you want to make this look a bit unique, add an acid pool, or just scan the QR code and go directly to their video. I don't even need to make a tutorial. It's so sad. Oh, what am I going to do? It's a shame I couldn't have had some in here. I could have done some bits. You could scan QR codes to my tutorials, but lots and lots of stuff. Make a lava lake. Scan this, and they're going to show you how to do it. I'm impressed. I like technology as well. I like that they're using QR codes. We've got some more pages on advanced techniques as well. So gluing them together and building up the steps if you need to elevate your characters into an area. How to create a rope. They're even showing you how to build a rope if you want, and painting mold. They've built a wall using it. Yeah, of course you could build walls as well as the floors. So plenty of ideas in here. Yeah, that's it, guys. What do you think? I am pretty impressed with that. I have never seen anything like this, and I'm fully aware you could go and get these bits and now build it, but I'm always impressed with Army Painter's innovative technique of just putting hobby things at our graphs. Like, this is going to be available online. It's all in a box set. It's going to be in stores. You're going to be able to pick it up, get more people into the hobby with really easy ways to pick up and start making terrain. So I'm pretty impressed with that. I'm not going to lie, and I'm definitely going to go try some. Do let me know below, because like I said, I don't really know where to begin. I'll be reading this in more depth and seeing where they suggest doing. I might just do some of the things they've said to do, but if you've got any ideas of what I could build, what would be cool and what would be useful to you, let me know in the comments below, and you can influence what tutorials I make by all means. Anyway, guys, that's everything in the box. I'll leave a link in the description that you can go and check this out. It's not available. Oh, I'm trying to find the piece of paper. It's not available till February. I think it was the 21st, so it's it's still a way out, although I say that it's nearly the end of the year, isn't it? So I'll leave a link anyway. You can pre-order it at Army Painter. And yeah, something for after Christmas, isn't it? Thank you all ever so much for watching, and I'll see you again soon.